Where is
Daniel
the
was an
device?
ordinary human man,
Tell us
born
where
and
it is.
raised on Earth. He never
know
thought
you
his
have
life
it.
would cross into the strange world of alien cultures. Yet one day it did. He had always been curious about space. He read stories, watched shows, and followed every new discovery about alien life. But he never thought he would stand inside a hall filled with alien light, holding the hand of a woman who was not human. Her name was Lyra. She was tall, graceful, and different from any woman he had ever seen. Her skin had a faint silver glow under the lights. Her eyes shimmered like liquid stars, and her voice carried a soft echo like two tones speaking at once. Daniel first met her during a trade exchange between humans and her people. Her species, known as the Elvari, were distant and mysterious. Most humans feared them. But Daniel saw something else. He saw kindness when she smiled. He saw curiosity when she looked at him. Their friendship began with simple talks, small walks under strange skies, and shared stories about their worlds. Weeks passed, and something grew between them, something that crossed the barriers of species, and then the day came. Lyra asked him if he would join her life or her people. This was the way they proposed marriage. Daniel hesitated at first. He knew little about her culture, but his heart told him to say yes, and so he did now. Daniel stood in the great Elvari hall, surrounded by tall figures cloaked in silver robes. The marriage ceremony was strange and cold. No music, no laughter, only whispers of alien chants and glowing symbols on the floor. Lyra held his hand tightly, her eyes fixed on him, her lips trembling as if she wanted to speak but held back. Daniel thought she looked nervous, even afraid. After the vows were spoken, an elder of the Elvari leaned close to Daniel and whispered, "You must never betray the bond, human. For the bond is not only with her." The words confused him, but before he could ask, the elder turned away. The ceremony ended, and the hall emptied into silence. That night, Daniel entered Lyra's home for the first time. It was carved into living stone with walls that pulsed softly as if alive. Strange glowing plants lined the corridors, casting blue light across the rooms. Daniel tried to feel at home. He tried to smile, but something felt wrong. There were closed doors down the hall, locked tightly, and every time he looked at them, Lyra's eyes followed his, sharp and protective. "Those rooms," Daniel asked softly, "what are they?" Lyra paused for a long time, then she simply said, "Not for you," and walked away. Daniel felt a chill, but he told himself it was just part of her people's traditions. Every culture had secrets, didn't they? As the night grew quiet, Daniel lay down beside her. Yet even as he closed his eyes, he thought he heard whispers, soft voices moving through the walls, voices that did not belong to Lyra. He sat up once, listening, his heart pounded. But when he asked Lyra about it, she simply placed a hand on his chest and whispered, "Sleep, Daniel, you are safe." Her words were gentle. But her eyes looked heavy, like someone hiding a truth too large to carry. Days passed. Daniel tried to adjust to his new life. He helped with simple tasks, he learned the Elvari customs, and he walked through the strange markets of their city. Yet he could never shake the feeling that someone else was watching him. Sometimes he heard footsteps when he walked alone. Sometimes shadows moved at the edge of his vision. Once, he swore he saw a figure slip into one of the locked rooms when Lyra was not looking. One evening, while Lyra prepared a meal of glowing fruits and steaming broth, Daniel wandered down the hall. His curiosity was stronger than his caution. He reached out to the handle of one of the locked doors. His fingers brushed the cold metal. Suddenly, Lyra's voice cut through the air, sharp and commanding. "Daniel!" He froze. She stood behind him, her silver eyes glowing brighter than ever. Her face was calm, but her voice carried a storm. "You must never open these doors," she said. "Promise me." Daniel swallowed. He wanted to ask why. He wanted to demand the truth. But something in her eyes told him not to, so he nodded. "I promise." That night, the whispers returned, this time clearer. He heard laughter, soft, almost playful, and then a voice low and firm, speaking words he did not understand. Daniel sat up in bed, his body tense. He turned to Lyra, but she lay beside him, eyes closed, breathing slow. She was asleep. The whispers were not hers. He rose quietly, stepping across the room. The voices seemed to come from beyond the locked doors. He pressed his ear to the wall. His blood turned cold. He heard three voices. Not one, not two, three, and then silence the next morning. Lyra acted as if nothing had happened. She smiled gently, served him food, and spoke of simple things. Yet Daniel noticed how tired she looked. Her hands shook slightly as she poured water. Her eyes avoided his. Daniel realized something. His marriage was not simple, it was not only with her. Something or someone waited behind those doors. Something that Lyra was hiding. And Daniel knew sooner or later he would find out. Daniel woke the next day with unease heavy in his chest. He had tried to ignore the voices in the night, but they clung to him sharp and whispering. His mind told him it could not be real, yet his heart knew the truth. There was someone else inside this house. Lyra acted normal. She spoke softly, prepared food, and guided him through the morning as if nothing was wrong. But Daniel noticed the shadows under her eyes, the way her shoulders were stiff, as if she was preparing for a storm. He wanted to ask her directly about the whispers, about the voices he had heard, but every time he looked into her eyes, something stopped him. There was fear there, and maybe guilt. Later that evening, when Lyra left the room to answer a call from one of her people, Daniel felt it again, that strange pull, a call he could not resist. His eyes drifted to the locked hallway. The whispers were louder this time, clearer. They were not just sounds, they were voices, full voices. One laughed, another sighed, and the third spoke in a low, sharp tone. Daniel's blood turned cold as he realized. The voices were female. Slowly, step by step, he walked toward the hall. His hand hovered over the cold handle, and then, as if fate chose the moment, the door clicked open on its own. Daniel froze. His heart hammered in his chest. He pushed the door gently, and it opened wide. Inside stood a figure, tall and elegant, with silver skin glowing in the dim light. Her face was like Lyra's, but sharper, colder. Her eyes cut through him like blades. "You should not be here, human," she said. Her voice was strong and commanding, yet smooth like silk before Daniel could answer. Another voice echoed from deeper in the room. "Oh, come on, don't scare him. You'll make him run away." From the shadows stepped another woman, younger in appearance, with playful eyes and a mischievous smile. Her movements were light, almost like dancing. Her laugh was soft but dangerous. Daniel's mouth went dry. He stared at them, unable to speak. They looked like Lyra, but not, similar yet different. Then the first one stepped closer. Her eyes locked on his. "We are her sisters," she said. "And now?" "We are yours too." Daniel stumbled back, confusion flooding his mind. "Sisters? What do you mean?" The playful one giggled, leaning close. "In our kind. One bond is never with just one. If you marry one of us, you marry all of us." Daniel's breath caught. His mind screamed that this was impossible. He had agreed to marry Lyra, not them. He had never been told about this. Never warned. At that moment Lyra appeared, her face pale, her eyes wide with fear. "No!" she cried, rushing forward. "Not yet!" He wasn't supposed to know. The cold sister's gaze turned to Lyra, sharp and accusing. "You should have told him. He is ours as much as yours." Lyra shook her head, her voice trembling. "He is not ready. He doesn't understand if you frighten him. He will leave." The playful sister stepped closer to Daniel, her smile widening. "He won't leave, they never leave. Not when they taste what we offer." Daniel backed away. His heart racing, he could hardly breathe. His world felt broken, torn apart by truths he did not want to face. Lyra rushed to him, holding his arm tightly. "Daniel, please listen to me. I was going to tell you, but I needed time. I needed you to trust me first." Daniel shook his head, his voice weak. "You married me, Lyra. You didn't tell me I was marrying them." The cold sister stepped closer, her silver eyes unblinking. "Do you think you had a choice? When you said yes to her, you said yes to all. That is the bond. That is our way." The playful one laughed softly, circling him like a predator. "Don't look so scared, human." "We can be fun too," Lyra's voice broke, tears shimmering in her eyes. "Stop it, both of you. You're scaring him." But Daniel wasn't just scared. He was angry, hurt, betrayed. His chest tightened as he tried to understand. His whole life had changed in a single moment. And now he realized he wasn't married to one woman, but three. "Why hide it?" he asked, his voice. Lyra looked down, her shoulders trembling. "Because I wanted you to love me first. Not out of duty, not out of fear. I wanted it to be real." Her words struck him. Soft but heavy, yet the sisters only stared, one with cold judgment, the other with playful hunger. Finally, the cold one spoke again, her voice like ice. "Human, listen well. If you betray one of us, you betray us all. There is no escape from this bond. You are ours now. Forever." Her words echoed in Daniel's mind long after the door closed behind him. He lay awake that night, Lyra beside him, her face turned away. The whispers returned, louder, clearer, stronger, and Daniel understood something chilling. This was no ordinary marriage, it was a cage made of secrets. A cage that now had 3 keys, none of which he could hold alone. Daniel could not sleep. The night dragged on endlessly, the whispers of the sisters wrapping around him like chains. He closed his eyes, but their voices filled the dark. One soft and kind, one sharp and cold. One playful and mocking. By dawn, his head ached. Lyra moved quietly beside him, but she did not meet his eyes. She looked broken, ashamed, and heavy with secrets. Finally, Daniel spoke, his voice low. "Tell me the truth, all of it. No more hiding." "Lyra," she froze, her hands trembling. For a long moment she did not speak. Then slowly she turned to him. Her silver eyes shimmered with sorrow. "You married not just me, Daniel," she whispered. "You married my whole bond. My sisters are part of me. Part of what I am in my culture. There is no marriage with one alone. It is always with the sisterhood." Daniel's stomach twisted. His chest felt heavy. "You should have told me before," he said, his voice shaking with anger. "I thought I was marrying you, not all of this." Lyra looked down, her voice cracking. "I wanted you to know me first. I wanted to give you time. Humans are different. You fear what you don't understand." Daniel stood and paced across the glowing stone floor, his hands clenched. "You're right. I don't understand, so explain it. Explain everything." Now Lyra took a deep breath, then she began. Her people, the Elvari, did not see themselves as single individuals. Each birth came in 3s, triplets bound by soul. They were not sisters in the human sense, but 3 parts of one spirit. One carried wisdom, one carried passion, one carried playfulness. Together they made a whole. When one of them married, all 3 entered the bond. It was their way of survival, their way of love. To choose only one was considered a crime, an insult to their very nature. Daniel listened, his mind spinning. He remembered the elders' whisper at the wedding. "The bond is not only with her." Now those words burned in his memory. "But why me?" Daniel asked, "Why would you risk marrying a human if this is your way? You must have known it would be impossible." Lyra looked at him, her eyes filled with quiet fire. "Because you are not like the others. Daniel, you treated me as a person, not as a thing to fear. You looked at me and saw more than my skin. More than my voice. I wanted you to be the one. I wanted to try." Her words softened him, but the weight of the truth crushed him harder. He sat down, burying his face in his hands. "So what happens now?" The answer came not from Lyra, but from the cold sister who entered without warning, her steps silent, her presence heavy. "Now you prove yourself human," she said, her eyes gleaming like steel. Daniel flinched. "Prove myself? What does that mean?" The playful sister slipped in behind her, laughing softly. "It means you pass our trials, silly human. You cannot just walk in and claim to be a husband. You must survive as one." Daniel looked from one to the other, fear crawling up his spine. "Trials? What kind of trials?" Lyra rushed forward, her voice trembling. "No, it's too soon. He doesn't understand. He isn't ready." The cold sister silenced her with a glare. "If he is to be ours, he must face it. He must eat as we eat, dream as we dream, and bleed as we bleed. Only then will the bond be complete." Daniel's heart raced. "And if I refuse?" The playful sister tilted her head, her smile sharp and dangerous. "Then you will not be her husband anymore. You will be nothing but a broken human. Discarded and forgotten." Lyra grabbed Daniel's hand, holding it tightly. "Don't listen to them. Not yet. Please." But Daniel knew there was no escape. The cold sister's words felt like law, unshakable and cruel. The playful one's laughter felt like a promise, sharp and sweet. That night, the trials began. The first was food. They brought him a bowl filled with strange glowing meat. Pulsing as if alive, the smell was sharp, metallic. His stomach churned, Lyra whispered softly. "You don't have to—" But before she could finish, the cold sister's voice cut like ice. "If he cannot eat what we eat, he cannot be one of us." Daniel forced himself to taste it. The flavor burned his mouth, bitter and hot. His throat fought to reject it, but he swallowed, his chest heaved. His stomach twisted, yet he finished the bowl. His pride refused to let him fail. The second trial was dreams. The sisters placed their hands on his head, and in a moment he was pulled into darkness. He floated in a sea of stars, their voices echoing around him. He saw Lyra's sorrow, the cold sister's judgment, the playful one's hunger. He saw memories that were not his, alien cities of silver light, wars fought in silence, bonds formed and broken. When he woke, sweat covered his body. His heart raced with fear. His eyes searched for Lyra. She was crying silently, whispering, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." The cold sister only said, "2 trials remain." Daniel tried to sleep that night, but his body trembled. The whispers returned, filling his ears, wrapping his mind, stronger now than ever. This time he did not only hear them, he felt them inside him, pulling at his thoughts, bending his will. And then came the words that froze his blood, spoken by the cold sister's voice inside his head. "The last human husband did not survive. Do you think you will?" Daniel woke in the middle of the night. His body was cold, his skin wet with sweat. His heart beat like a drum. The dream of the sisters still clung to him, voices pulling, hands reaching, eyes watching. Beside him, Lyra slept uneasily, her silver skin glowing faintly in the dark. But he was not alone. He felt it, the weight of eyes on him. He sat up, and in the corner of the room stood the playful sister, her smile wide, her eyes gleaming with mischief. She tilted her head, whispering, "Can't sleep, human?" Daniel's breath caught. "Why are you here?" She giggled softly, stepping closer. "Because I'm curious. You're different from the others. Braver, maybe even foolish. But I like that." Her fingers brushed the bed frame as she leaned close. "Tell me, Daniel, which one of us do you like most?" Before he could answer, the door slammed open. The cold sister entered, her presence sharp and heavy. "Enough," she snapped, her voice like ice. "Do not poison his mind with your games." The playful one rolled her eyes. "Oh, don't be so serious. He's ours. He should know us all, not just you, not just Lyra." The cold sister's silver eyes cut into Daniel's soul. "If you choose one of us, human, you betray the bond. Remember this." Daniel felt trapped between them, his body tense, his voice stuck in his throat. Lyra stirred, waking slowly. Her eyes widened when she saw them. Fear flashed across her face. "Stop!" she cried, rushing between them. "You'll tear him apart." "This isn't the way." The sisters glared at each other, their tension filling the air like thunder. Daniel could feel the walls vibrate, the glowing plants flicker. Their bond was strong, but their rivalry was stronger. The next day, Daniel tried to speak with Lyra alone. They sat in the garden outside the house, blue flowers humming softly in the breeze. "Lyra," he said, his voice firm, "I can't do this. I can't live with secrets. I need to know, why are they fighting like this?" Lyra's hands trembled as she touched the glowing petals. "Because they are parts of me, but they want more. They want you to choose to belong to them. But if you do, the bond will break." Daniel frowned. "Break? What happens if it breaks?" Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "We die, all 3 of us. We are one soul, Daniel. If the bond shatters, so do we." His chest tightened. He had never felt such pressure. His choice was no longer just about love. It was about survival. Hers and his that evening. The trials continued. The 3rd trial was blood. The sisters stood in a circle, chanting softly. Each one held a blade of silver light. Lyra begged them to wait, but they ignored her. The cold sister stepped forward, pressing the blade against Daniel's arm. "If you are one of us, your blood will carry our flame. If not, it will burn you." Daniel's breath quickened. He had already eaten their food, already shared their dreams. But this was different. This was real pain. The blade cut his skin. Blood welled up, glowing faintly as it touched the silver edge. His arm burned, fire racing through his veins. He cried out, collapsing to his knees. His vision blurred, his heart pounded. Lyra screamed, rushing to his side, but the cold sister held her back. "He must endure," she said firmly. The playful sister leaned close, her smile softer now, almost tender. "Don't give up, human. Show us you belong." Daniel grit his teeth, fighting against the burning fire. Minutes passed like hours. Finally, the pain faded. His blood settled into a faint silver glow. His arm throbbed but healed with no scar. The sisters exchanged looks. Even the cold one seemed surprised. "He lives," the cold sister said, her voice almost grudging. Daniel collapsed into Lyra's arms, gasping, his body weak, his mind spinning. But deep inside he felt something change. A connection, a thread tying him to them all. That night the rivalry grew worse. The playful sister found him again, whispering softly in his ear while Lyra slept. "You're strong, stronger than the others. If you choose me, I'll give you freedom. I'll show you pleasures Lyra cannot." Daniel pushed her back. his voice sharp. "Stop it, I don't want this." Her smile faded. Her eyes darkened. "You can't resist forever. Daniel, one day you'll have to choose." Moments later, the cold sister appeared, her expression hard. "Do not listen to her lies, human, if you trust her. You will die." Daniel's heart pounded. Caught in their storm, Lyra woke again, tears in her eyes. "Please stop this, you'll destroy us all." The house trembled, cracks forming in the glowing walls. The sisters' rivalry was tearing the very air apart. Daniel shouted, his voice breaking. "Enough! You'll kill each other." Silence fell. The sisters stared at him, their silver eyes burning with different fires. Lyra sobbed softly, holding her face in her hands. And then the cold sister whispered, her voice low and dangerous, "If he cannot control us, then he is no husband at all." Daniel felt his blood turn cold. For the first time he understood. This was not just a marriage. Not just a test, it was a war. A war between the sisters. A war that could destroy him too. That night as he lay awake, the whispers returned. Louder, sharper, crueler. He pressed his hands to his ears, but they still filled his mind. One voice begged, one voice threatened, one voice tempted, and then all three spoke together, their words sinking into his soul. "Choose, human, or we will choose for you." The nights on the alien world were longer than anything Daniel had known on Earth. The twin moons hung above the jungle sky, spilling silver light over the strange valley. Daniel sat awake, unable to sleep, his thoughts tangled like threads in the dark. The sisters were not what they seemed. They were kind, yes, and gentle in their own way. But beneath their smiles there was something hidden, something unspoken. He felt it whenever their eyes met his, whenever they whispered to each other in their native tongue when they thought he was asleep. That night he decided he would not pretend anymore. He would listen, he would find out. The sisters sat by the fire, speaking softly, their voices rising and falling like waves. He heard his own name in their language, sharp and clear. His heart pounded. He pressed closer to the shadows, careful not to make a sound. The elder sister, Leora, looked worried. Her voice was heavy with warning. "The bond has started too soon," she said. "If he finds out, the choice will no longer be his, the younger one." Sira shook her head, fire in her eyes. "He is strong, stronger than they said humans could be. He can carry it, he must. Or we are lost." Daniel froze. Bond? Choice? What were they talking about? The flames cracked, sending sparks into the night. Leora lowered her voice even further. "You forget what happened last time, Sira. You forget what our bloodline carries. If the bond completes without his will, the darkness will claim him too." Daniel's pulse thundered in his ears. What darkness? What bond, and why him? Suddenly the fire hissed. As if the jungle itself had answered, the air grew cold. And from the shadows a figure stirred. A tall, twisted shape, with glowing eyes and claws that scraped the earth. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. The sisters rose to their feet instantly. Their bodies tense, they did not scream. They did not run. Instead, blue light began to shimmer around their hands. Leora whispered, "It has found us." The monster stepped into the moonlight, its form shifting like smoke and steel. It spoke in a voice that was not a voice. "You cannot hide him from me," it hissed. "He is mine." Daniel stumbled back, his mind racing. Why was it after him? Why did it claim him as if he already belonged? Sira's voice rang sharp. "You will not touch him. He is under our protection. And if the bond has begun, then you are already too late," the creature snarled. Lunging forward, blue fire exploded from the sisters' palms, striking the beast and lighting up the jungle. The ground shook as the battle began. Daniel could only watch, his world collapsing and changing all at once. The secret was no longer just theirs. It was his too, and as the fire burned brighter, he finally understood. The sisters had not brought him here by accident. They had chosen him for something far greater, something dangerous, something that would decide not only his fate but theirs. The bond was real, and he was already part of it. The jungle roared with sound, the fire cracked, the ground shook, and the beast's growl echoed like thunder. Daniel stood frozen, but his heart beat like a drum inside his chest. He had never seen anything like this. The sisters moved like warriors, their bodies glowing with strange blue light, their hands cutting the air with fire and force. The monster hissed, smoke pouring from its jagged mouth. "You cannot break the chain," it growled. "The human is already mine." Daniel's legs felt heavy, but something inside him stirred. Not fear, something stronger, something that called to him. He clutched his chest as if his own heartbeat was burning. A pulse not his own throbbed through his veins. The elder sister Leora shouted to him, her voice breaking the chaos. "Daniel, do not resist. Let it happen. Let the bond awaken." Her words confused him. Bond? What bond? But his body already knew. The blue light that shimmered around the sisters now wrapped around him, pulling him into their battle. The monster lunged, claws sharp. Daniel raised his arms instinctively, and in that moment, something impossible happened. A wall of blue fire erupted between him and the beast. It wasn't the sisters this time. It was him. The creature howled, recoiling as the fire scorched its shadowy form. Daniel gasped, staring at his own hands. The glow spread from his fingertips, wild, fierce, alive. He could feel the sisters inside him. He could feel their strength, their fear, their hope, flowing into him like one heartbeat. Syrah's voice carried through the fire. "The bond is complete. You are one of us now." The words shook Daniel more than the monster ever could. He was not just a man anymore. He was tied to them, body, spirit, and fate. But the danger was far from over. The beast laughed, even as the flames burned its flesh. "Fools," it snarled. "You think this human makes you stronger? He makes you weaker. When he falls, you all fall." The air grew heavy. The fire flickered low. Daniel's arms trembled, his strength fading as quickly as it came. The power was real, but it was wild. It was not his alone, it was shared. Every fear, every doubt pulled it apart. Leora stepped forward, her face pale but her eyes fierce. "Daniel, listen to me. This power is not just ours, it is yours too. Do not think like a man who stands alone, think like us. Think like one." The beast lunged again, its claws aiming for her chest. Daniel's body moved before his mind did. He threw himself between them, the fire bursting out of him brighter, hotter, stronger. The claws struck his arm. Pain shot through him like lightning, but he did not fall. Instead, he smiled, blood running down his hand. For the first time, the monster stumbled back. It had not expected him to rise. The sisters gasped, their fire flaring higher as if his courage fueled them. For a moment, man and alien stood as one. "3 heartbeats, 1 fire," the monster growled, its glowing eyes narrowing. "This is not over," it hissed, retreating into the shadows of the jungle. "You cannot hide from what comes. The bond will consume you. And when it does, so will I." The night grew silent again, the jungle watching with unseen eyes. Daniel fell to his knees, breathless, the fire fading from his hands. The sisters rushed to him, holding him up, their faces filled with both relief and fear. Syrah whispered, "He survived. He is truly chosen." Daniel looked at them, his voice weak but steady. "Chosen for what? What have you done to me?" Leora's eyes held sorrow, but also a truth she could no longer hide. "You are not just our husband. Daniel, you are our shield, our last hope, and the enemy will never stop until it breaks you." The fire burned low. The moon shone cold. Daniel realized his life was no longer his own. He was part of something far larger, and it was only the beginning. The night after the battle felt endless. Daniel lay awake beside the fire, his hands still glowing faintly with the strange blue light. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the monster's glowing stare, its words echoing inside his mind. "The bond will consume you." The sisters sat close, whispering, watching him carefully. He could see the fear in their faces, even when they tried to hide it. Finally, he broke the silence, his voice rough. "No more secrets. You owe me the truth. What am I now? What have you done to me?" Leora sighed, her eyes heavy with guilt. "You are one of us now, Daniel. The bond was not meant to awaken so soon, but it had to. Without you, we would already be dead." Syrah leaned forward, her voice sharp but filled with emotion. "You saved us, and now you are tied to us. We share our life, our strength, our soul. If you fall, we fall. If we die, you die too." Daniel felt his chest tighten. His life was no longer his alone, their blood, their power. Their very existence was tied to him, and the monster, whatever it was, knew it. That's why it wanted him, but why me? He demanded, his fists clenching. "You could have chosen anyone. Why a human from Earth?" Leora's eyes softened, almost sad. "Because humans are different. You endure pain, you fight when there is no hope. You carry love and rage in the same heart. Our kind cannot do this anymore. We needed you. And you came to us." Her words hit him like thunder. They had not chosen him by accident. They had chosen him because of what he was, human. Not weak, not fragile, but something far more dangerous. Suddenly the ground shook. The trees bent, the sky darkened. The monster had returned. Its shadow covered the valley, its voice booming like a storm. "You cannot run from me. The bond belongs to the darkness, and the human is mine." Daniel rose to his feet, his body trembling but his spirit burning. He could feel the sisters' fear pressing against him, but also their strength flowing into him. This time he did not resist. This time he embraced it. The blue fire burst from his chest, spreading across his arms and legs. The sisters stood beside him, their hands glowing the same. 3 lights joined as one. The ground cracked under their power. The monster lunged, its claws cutting the air like blades. Daniel met it head-on, the fire exploding from his fists. The valley shook with their clash. Each strike burned brighter, each roar echoed louder. The sisters' voices joined his. 3 heartbeats pounding as one. "You will not break us," Daniel shouted, his voice carrying through the flames. "We are one, and we fight together." The fire surged like a storm, swallowing the monster's shadow. It screamed, thrashing, clawing, but the light tore through it, burning away its darkness. Bit by bit, its form shattered until only ash and silence remained. The jungle grew still, the moon shining clear again. Daniel fell to his knees, exhausted, his body shaking. But he was alive, and so were the sisters. They rushed to him, holding him close, tears in their eyes. "You did it," Sira whispered, her voice trembling. "You destroyed it." Daniel shook his head, his voice heavy with truth. "No, we destroyed it. Together." Leora's eyes glistened. "For 1,000 years our people believed the bond was a curse. But tonight you proved it is a gift. You proved why humans are different." The fire died down, and for the first time since he came to this world, Daniel felt peace. He had not only married into their family, he had become part of their very souls. Husband, protector, warrior, shield. The war was not over. Others would come, stronger than the beast. But Daniel was no longer alone, and neither were they. In the silence of the alien night, one truth stood clear. The bond had not consumed him, it had made him more. And together they were unstoppable,